Welcome to the Planet Rock Podcast, the hottest show in the cosmos. Get ready for insight and inspiration right here on Planet Rock with your special guest, Joshua P.K. White, and your cosmic guide through our ever-changing space and time. I'm your host, Raquel Herring. Welcome to the Planet Rock Podcast, the hottest show in the cosmos. Planet Rock is your go-to spot for all things relationships, personal growth, and navigating life's twists and turns, from the depths of dating and marital dynamics to the heights of spiritual journeys, entrepreneurship, money, pets, and plants. We explore every facet of human connection. I'm Raquel Herring, your cosmic companion on this wild ride called life. Each episode of Planet Rock is packed with insights and inspiration to help you thrive in this ever-changing world. From heartwarming stories to candid conversations, we're here to empower you and uplift your spirits. Tune in every Thursday at noon Eastern Standard Time on envision-radio.com, where praise meets talk, for some real talk, real people goodness. And don't forget to catch the premiere video replay on YouTube every Saturday. And remember to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to stay updated with all our latest episodes. Follow me on social media for updates and swing by my website at raquelherring.com to stay connected. Now relax, settle in, and let's rock your world one relationship at a time right here on Planet Rock. Welcome to another episode of Planet Rock. Today, we have a special guest who is a true dynamo in the music industry. Originally from my hometown, Miami, Florida, Joshua P.K. White, better known as DJ PK, is a minister, music producer, and speaker dedicated to empowering youth and fostering unity through gospel music. Since 1999, DJ PK has been preaching and teaching God's word to youth and artists alike. As a BMI songwriter, he has crafted hits for numerous gospel artists and has served as a DJ for WMBM 1490 AM. Whoop, whoop! Thank you. They're always so supportive. And Strong Arm Radio online. But his influence doesn't stop there. DJ PK is also a music consultant, independent performer, and CEO of J. White Enterprise, overseeing a thriving music production and consulting business. In addition to his musical talents, DJ PK was the executive director of the Hip Hop Gospel Industry Network in Fort Lauderdale, Broward County chapter from 2001 to 2023. Right, 2021 to 2023. He has leveraged his multifaceted skills as a music producer, TV host, radio announcer, motivational speaker, and music consultant to make a significant impact in the industry. So join us as we dive deep into DJ PK's incredible journey, his passion for empowering the next generation, and his vision for the future of gospel music. Get ready to be inspired and uplifted on this cosmic adventure with Planet Rock, me, Raquel, and DJ PK. Welcome to the show, DJ PK.
What's up? What's up? What's up? Hello, everyone. Hello, hello, hello. Thank you for having me. Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming on the show. Share with us your journey from Miami to becoming DJ PK. Tell us about you, DJ PK.
Well, I started out in 1999 in high school. My father started his own recording label here in South Florida. And as a teenager, I was able to get into songwriting and creating music. So I grew up around musicians. I grew up around producers. Back in the days, Slip and Slide, EKG Records were labels that was around in South Florida, and I was able to connect with several producers then in the recording studio and kind of learn my hands on by being around other engineers growing in the industry. So my upbringing of having mentors at a young age, and at the time I started in gospel music, I was in the art field of what we call gospel rap, and there was just a few of us back then. So my journey was not as easy because gospel rap was not too much accepted at that time in the church world. It was still brand new and kind of fresh. So I had to really open up by connecting with different leaders, which opened up my skills of having the opportunity to learn how to how you say navigate through different religions, navigate through different personalities of people, understanding different perspectives of life. So I don't regret the things I went through at a young age. One thing I learned from my parents was back then, now it's very popular to be an entrepreneur and all those things. My father started his church in his early 20s. So at a young age, when I thought about getting into the music business, his first thing was he's going to start a record label. He said to me that, hey, you don't need to sign with any record label. I'm going to teach you everything you need to know so you can start your own production. You can get registered as a songwriter. And at that time, I didn't know at the age of 16 and 15 years old, I can start my songwriting. But my parents were able to sign me up. And by the time I turned 18, I was able to really continue my contract with BMI and continue writing songs for other people. And you just never know. And I definitely, for those who are listening, if you have young people that you're working with, my passion is to really encourage parents to open up the doors when you see that your young people have gifts in their life, because I believe each one of us have a gift. And God was able to really allow me to experience certain things at a young age, which really has really calibrated me and been able to start businesses for other young people. And really open doors for many people on this journey. So my journey really was able to be, I would say, a great success because of my environment. So one of the things I try to do is really give young people an opportunity to create an environment to discover their gifts, to understand the music business. Most people are in it for just the money. Some people are just in it for the music. But I try to show them a balance of loving the music and at the same time, this is a music business. And I think that if we can really learn how to bring that balance in life, we can really help the generation of music challenge to open up more doors. And one thing I love about the music consulting, I'm not limited to just working with gospel artists. My goal in music consulting is helping all artists understand how to register their music, understand what publishing companies are all about, understand how to own the rights to your music, how to make money on the radio. All of these things play a huge factor. And these are things that God was showing me at a young age. And I truly believe that as you go through life, your ups and downs, there's no such thing as failures. Everything is a learning experience. So there are going to be goals that we all set. There were goals I set in certain time frames I didn't accomplish at the time that I wanted. But one thing I understood, that in time, if I kept pursuing and being persistent, I was going to pursue those goals. I learned that sometimes certain opportunities are open to you when you connect with the right people. This is the music business, so it's all about marketing. And one of the things in marketing is we learn is relationships. So I just want to just kind of encourage people that my journey has been a journey of really connecting with different people from different spiritual walks, connecting with people from different churches, different organizations, not just being in the four walls, but being outside, involved in the community, and dealing with leaders and things like that. So if you really want to, I would say, be successful in music, it's really about connecting with your community, those that are in your community, and then also as you be faithful to your city and those who are you're working with, doors start opening up outside. So that has just certainly been laws and principles that I have applied, that I've learned from the environment of having right mentors, connected with people in the music business, connected with my parents, who really kind of just set the journey. Because at a young age, I really fought. I would say, well, I was the black sheep of the family. I got kicked out of middle school, got kicked out of high school. I was that one that was a PK kid, but challenged everything because I always
Oh,
had questions. I always was, how you say, kind of undisciplined. So my whole lifestyle and character at a young age was, if you give me something, I'm gonna take it to the next level. And my parents were just really trying to help me take that energy and guide it in the right direction. So it wasn't so much about telling me not to do things, but just giving me the right attitude about what I was doing. And I think that at a young age, I understood that leadership is something that we all need in any life that we get involved with. And I had
yeah.
leadership, but I just had leadership in the wrong, with the wrong mindset and the
Mhm.
wrong attitude. But as I continue to understand who God is, I start understanding my life as a man, understanding my life with people and loving people, but and first knowing how to love myself, because I couldn't love other people until I really learned how to love myself. And all these things play a huge factor on how we deal with our businesses, how we deal with our relationships. So I definitely want to just start off with that, and letting people know that that's how my journey has been. It's been a real strong spiritual walk with God, and also really learning how to love people and empower people and help them get their goal. One of the greatest things you can ever learn in this music business is, if you learn how to solve people problems, money will come. And that's what
Yeah.
I've learned in my life, that I've never had to chase money. I've just learned how to provide solutions to people problems, and in return, they value the thing that I'm doing for them.
Mhm. You said you had to learn to love yourself, and
Yes.
you said to understand yourself as a man. Like, what
Mhm.
got you to that place that you were like, that turned around for you to love yourself?
The turnaround was really acknowledging and really going and giving myself to God, and knowing who God is to me, knowing my purpose, my identity. When I started as a believer in Christ, when I started reading God's word,
Mhm.
I started realizing that God loves people and he also loves me. So one of the
Mhm.
things, you understand that when you start walking in your identity and your purpose, the more you get to know God, you discover yourself. And that kind of like blew my mind, that the more I started pursuing who God is, he started showing me who I am. So
Mm.
as I discovered who I am, I really knew how to treat my brothers and sisters in life. So my situation that really happened for me is that my life was, how you say, at a standstill, to where everybody around me was kind of like living paycheck to paycheck. And I just kept asking that question, like, it got to be more to life. It got to be more,
Mhm.
to where there's, everything seems like it's just happening in the circle and in the cycle. That, you start seeing history repeat itself in the lives of other people, in the life of
Mhm.
yourself. And you just got to get to a point where you just say, Lord, what it is that you want me to do. And I
Mhm.
got to the point where I just, became, I didn't too much care no more about just satisfying just myself, but really understanding what God wants me to do
Mhm.
for humanity, what the vision was. So that's what it was. God ended up revealing to me a vision. And when I understood the vision, then I
Mhm.
was able to say to myself, okay, this is what I need to do, because I see the vision. Now it's time for me to make a plan. And I know
Right.
if I stick to the plan that he gives me, then whatever he's already shown me is going to come to pass, because I believe whatever he showed me in the vision.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that.
Yes.
So who have been your biggest influences and your mentors throughout your career?
Oh, wow. Well, let me say, first of all, my father has been one of my biggest, Pastor Arthur L. White. He's been one of my biggest mentors. Like I said, he started out in the church business in his early 20s. He lived in Inverness, Florida. He decided to move our family. I wasn't when he started his church in 81 was the year I was born, and he moved to Miami. He truly had believed that God had called him into the church ministry, to
Mhm.
start a business. And he was in his early 20s. And today he still has the church right now, still flourishing and growing. And it was just like you said, it was a vision that God gave him, and he just trusted God. So by having certain principles that I learned from him, and then he used to have a library at home. One of my greatest mentors that I always read and take notes from is Earl Nightingale. I read a book in 2010 that changed my life called Think and Grow Rich. And when I read that book, the enlightenment that came out of reading that book, and then adding certain scriptures in God's word as I connected the dots of doing things, I started learning certain things that really just started creating laws and understanding principles and how life works. And how, as you do unto others, it is done unto you. Whatever you reap, you shall sow. There are certain principles and laws that I learned from Earl Nightingale. I'm gonna name a couple people I read behind: Bob Proctor, John Maxwell, Miles Monroe. A couple people that I've met in life that has really have touched my life. Pastor Victor Curry. People who have started major music businesses and things like that, and radio stations who've given me opportunities to do stuff on the radio. So a lot of the mentors I would say that has been placed in my life is because I really decided to align myself with God's plan for my life. And every day I still pray and I meditate, and I really condition myself to be in alignment, so that as I take my journey in life, I run into the people who have the keys to certain doors. And that's what I look at as mentors, is that each mentor that you meet in life, they have a level of information, and they have certain things that they can give you that will allow you to have an understanding of how to maneuver in life, because they've been somewhere you've already been.
Right.
I'm always passionate and encouraging other people to get mentors in your life. If you don't have mentors in your life, you got to have somebody that's sitting in the chair that you desire to be in, and you really have the mindset and the attitude to humble yourself to hear what they have to say, but not only just hear, but take action. Because the real work is when you take action. You can be listening to stuff on YouTube all day, but if you don't take action, then that's really not true faith. And that's two tools that you have to use, is that you must hear and then you must obey. You got to start walking it out. So as I started walking out the things, I started hearing from my radio announcer mentors and my pastors in my ear, and started applying certain things into my life, even with the music business and meeting the artists that were before me. Things really started changing, because once you learn in life, laws don't change. They remain the same. And if you can understand how a law works and you just keep operating in it, you should get the same results when you have the right mindset and the right attitude about what you're doing.
Yeah. Can we talk about a law that you realized how it works and you started utilizing it?
One of my favorite laws that I used, that I teach my mentees in our music business, is the visualizing. There's the law that if you, whatever you think upon, it shall come upon you. And it's one thing we understand, that all ideas are thoughts. So if you can position yourself every day to envision a goal, whether it's finishing an album, whether it's doing it, even tonight, even this interview that we're doing, I took time out earlier to sit down and just envision myself having this interview, everything going smooth. And these are certain laws that God has made that's universal for everybody. Because whatever you think about, you become. Whatever you stare at, you become. And whatever you listen to, the music you listen to, the movies you watch, it influences the mindset. And what happens is that the more you understand that law and start operating, things start happening in life. So visualization is one of the main laws that I teach, and I believe that is a tool that we all should use in our life to help us navigate, because the Word of God tells us that without a vision, the people perish. So if you can get somewhere and start envisioning yourself doing, saying, and having the things you desire and the things you want, don't be concerned about how it's going to happen. Don't be concerned about the time frame, but just live in it right now. And that's my attitude, and that's my mindset when I'm working with my students and artist friends, is that let's already see, as we do this business deal, us getting the money, financial goal, the album being done, the music video being shot, and then let's take it from our minds and put it on paper, and let's do it.
Well, that's good that you said that, because that's, bringing people together, the unity of everyone coming together and putting forth that effort. So how do you go about, like, it plays a big part in your teaching. So how do you go about fostering it within your community within the gospel community or just in the community of music in general?
Well, one of the things I have certain seminars, I do consulting,
Mhm.
and it's just really I started just where I'm at, and where I was within my church community, which opened doors to people knew that person, and then other artists started recognizing what's going on. Then I was able to start fostering by working with other record labels and
Mhm.
coming in and sitting down with their artists and just tell them, hey, first, what do you want? Ask yourself, what do you want? And sometimes people really don't know what they want. But if you can get a person to get to the point that they can realize what they want and then rapture that vision and then say, okay, listen, let's write down some things we can do to get there. Because
Mhm.
literally, this is how it works. And if you can get people to see where they're at and where they want to be,
Mhm.
things start changing. They start
Yeah.
recognizing, they start evaluating the choices that they make. That's another thing that
Mhm.
plays a huge factor is the choices that we make. So it
Mhm.
opens up the door to really start asking people, what is your schedule? Because whatever you're spending time doing, that's getting your energy. That's where all your time is going. And if you're not focusing on your purpose, if you're not focusing on your identity, those are the things that are really going to allow you to have fulfillment. A lot of people have success, but they don't have fulfillment. And those are
Mhm.
two different things. So if you can get people to just really come to the point to where they just stop everything they're doing and just clear their minds and just say what it is that you want. And let's
Right.
focus on there. Because what you want and what's really inside of you, what God has given to you, is connected to your purpose. And if we can
Mhm.
get you connected to your purpose and your passion, I guarantee you that you will enjoy doing that, even if nobody paid you, and the
Mhm.
money will just come.
Yeah. Yeah. You talked about BMI a few times.
Yes.
So let's tell the people what BMI is.
hmm BMI stands for Broadcasting Music Incorporation.
Okay.
It's the company that's responsible for paying artists for royalties.
Right.
And there are more than one royalty company that is out there. So you need to know that there's ASCAP,
Right.
EMI, CSAC, and Sound Exchange. These companies are companies that pay you for all your songs being played on the radio. Anytime you get on an airplane, you hear music. Anytime you go on a bar, anywhere there's public music being played, they are responsible for artist royalties. And there are a lot of artists, you will be surprised. There are a lot of artists putting out music who don't have an account. Some don't even know about it. Some are still taking their time doing the business part. They're so focused on the music that they're not handling the business. But
Right.
the reason why BMI is so important is because that money is money that you are literally missing. And getting paid on the radio is still one of the highest paid things right now. If you can get your music on billboards, on top charts, that is still one of the most highest paid ways of making money in the music industry. If you mention Spotify and Google Play, that is like pennies. And it is
Mm.
like literally very, very, very slow how they're working things through distribution companies. So I encourage
Mhm.
artists to, first of all, register with BMI, register with ASCAP. I've been with BMI since 1999. I've never had any problems. It's free to register. Let me say that to all the songwriters on here. It's free to register with BMI. There's a $50 cost to register with ASCAP. All right. I believe it's $150 in order for you to open up your publishing company with BMI. So the difference between the songwriting and the publishing company, your publishing company is a company. Just know that if you don't open a publishing company, if you just sign up with BMI for free as a songwriter, you automatically receive royalties for publishing. You are the publisher. So
Mhm.
even if you don't create a publishing company, you are still entitled to receiving royalties from the publishing side of the songwriting of the song. I encourage artists to open up their own publishing company so that you can be able to connect with radio stations. You'll be able to start your company and be able to how you say license other movies.
Mhm.
Oftentimes I get play directors to call me for certain records that I publish, and I send them a sync contract, and they fill out and they pay a small fee in order to use the song in their plays or in their movies or in video games or even in commercials. There are radio stations who use certain jingles and instrumental beats that
Mhm.
I've made, and I get paid every time they play that. So my publishing company gets receive royalties on BMI for things like that. So these is areas that I encourage all artists, and you should not be afraid to understanding the music business. It's just another language, but it's a part of the responsibility of an artist.
Right, right. Well, we were talking about that, the business of things. Um, hmm, I'm trying to think, do we want to keep going about business and come back or talk about your creative process? Because there's
I,
a lot of songwriters out there and
yeah.
they want to write and sometimes maybe you tell us, walk us through your creative process when writing a song, because you've written some great songs, you've crafted hits for numerous gospel artists. So how do you go about crafting that hit song?
Well, as a music producer, I first started out in making beats for rappers,
Okay.
and then 2010 to 2000, yeah, 2010, I started really composing, and even as a music producer, and I want to say this for all music producers: every music producer is not a beat maker.
Okay.
Most music producers are doing what I'm doing now at this point, is composing. Is to where we're writing lyrics, we're bringing in the musicians, we're bringing in the
Mhm.
songwriters. At these orchestra places, you always have these the MCs always do they put everything together and they orchestrate everything. I'm that one guy inside the recording studio orchestrating all the singers, writing all the hooks, coming up with the melodies, finding the sopranos, finding the altos, finding the bass guitar. I'm putting everything together. The record label sometimes give me a budget to work with, and I put together the record. So that's what majority of most music producers do. We produce the music that
Mhm.
people are hearing. So my role now is one of the roles that really orchestrate everything and putting everything together. So when it comes to songwriting, one of the things I really focus on is really getting the musicians to give me musical instrumental pieces to come together. And then after that, most of the times, most record labels have a particular artist that they just signed, or
Mhm.
like one particular artist with a manager and an artist, they'll come to me with a person with a gift and a talent, and they'll say, hey, we would like to do an LP, and we'll actually put together the beats that they want, and we'll also put together the actual record and record it. Sometimes I will lay down the voices of everything, the singing, the background, and then the artist will come in and replace my vocals and put
Uh-huh.
their vocals on it, and then we release the song. So there are several ways we go about putting together production. So I would just encourage songwriters, never limit yourself. If you're able to learn the ability to sing your songs, and have someone else sing it, even if you're an artist, you may not be the person, and there's nothing wrong with that. You may not be the person to sing your song that you've written it, but there's
Right.
nothing wrong with writing songs for other major artists.
Right.
And some people don't want to do that. And I'm telling you, I say, you never know where your opportunity is going to come. You may end up open, the door may be open just by you doing something different. It
Right.
happened to me. Literally, I was doing gospel rap music all the time, and the door didn't open until I literally got an opportunity to actually get on the radio and start
Mm.
interviewing people. And I had the
Sure.
ability to play my own music, and everybody
Yeah.
was like, that's your music? I was like, yeah. So it
Yeah.
opened the door, and then people started hiring me to produce their music. So you don't
Hmm.
know how it's going to be. And I struggled with that at first when I first got the opportunity to do the radio. Someone was telling me they heard me DJing, and they said, you sound good, you should be on the radio. And I was like, nah, because I was thinking in my head that it may put a dent in my rap career. But I
Mm.
listened to the wisdom of my father, and he told me to take the opportunity, because you never know where God want to take you. And
That's
that's
good.
when it doors started opening, and I was able to connect with Kurt Franklin. I was able to connect with Ty Tribbett. I started interviewing these people while I'm live on the radio. All these doors started opening just because I decided to try something different that was connected to
Mm.
music, and then it
Yeah.
opened doors for other opportunities.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah,
Yeah,
because sometimes we're like, we get stuck in that one place that, no, I'm doing this, and
right.
forget about that. It can come another way. It doesn't have to come just from this one road you're on. You may
Mhm.
have to take a few roads, and then it'll be like that fifth road that you didn't suspect,
Right.
and that. that's the thing it comes from. So yeah, that's good that you said that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
What are some of the key elements that make a hit song?
Mm. Key elements:
Yeah.
melody, structure of a song, having a bridge, having a chorus. There are, I'm talking the detailed stuff because I'm a producer. Having different structures of the song, the
Mm.
content of what you're talking about, being in tune with what's relevant
Hmm.
with your listeners. And another thing, knowing your audience. If
Yeah.
you really know your audience and you start writing according, it won't be so hard to deliver a message because the message is being asked for or the message is necessary to be heard.
Hmm.
So to me, those are key things, elements in knowing how to have good ears of hearing things. That's why meditation or
Mm.
understanding how to, how you say, put in align yourself to be able to hear music and then hear words that marriage the sound and knowing when to bring stuff in. And
Mm.
that's to me that is so important. If you can really know how to make sounds harmonize together with lyrics
Yeah.
and instruments and having the right energy of people in the room. I keep myself around positive people when
Hmm.
we're creating. I make sure that the atmosphere is an atmosphere that we can think, that we can be creative and be non-judgmental to one another's
Yeah.
opinions and thoughts. If you can create that environment, oh, trust me, knowing after you put out a record, listen, you're gonna always have critics. But if
Yeah.
you can create an environment and everybody's in agreement with what you created, when critics and people say they say I don't like this, or people start telling you that, oh, you should have did it this way, you should have did that way, you will have such a confidence because you know that this is exactly what I felt. This is exactly what
Yeah.
I knew needed to be said at that time in that moment.
Yeah.
And as a music producer, I create things based on feelings. So
Hmm.
some people who don't know how to use their imagination, some people who don't know how to express their feelings, it's very hard for them to create great hits. People who
Mm.
create great hits have a wide imagination. You think about the Missy Elliott's and the Busta Rhymes, all these
Yeah.
people who can take their imaginations and put it in music videos and put it in their songs. If you can allow yourself to be understand how to work your imagination, understand how to put yourself in a position to create an atmosphere of having positive energy in the room and allowing God to really work through you. Trust me,
Yes.
making hits
Mm.
is nothing.
Wow. So when we talk about like key elements, are there different elements in different genres that make the song impactful and memorable? Because sometimes gospel music may be like with the words or something a little bit different. Oh, obviously different than the rap. But what
Mhm.
like makes gospel music those elements? I mean, I know the music and all that, but what elements do you think that make them impactful and memorable as opposed to like those elements that would be in rap? Is it any difference?
All right. So the how you said the elements in, let's just first do the first question. The elements in gospel music that makes the difference is because we're talking about things that should be spiritual.
Yeah.
And gospel just means, first of all, good news. And
Right.
anytime you can take a spiritual lyrics to the massive on any level and bring change, we're talking about deliverance. We're talking about healing. We're talking about
Mhm.
peace of mind. Now you're really impacting people's lives. So the
Mhm.
biggest thing that I would say that gospel music does is free people.
Mhm. Mhm.
So if you can get people
That's
from
good.
one place to another place, then you're doing the good news. You're doing the good news. You're bringing, you're giving people sound mind. So that's my opinion when it comes to gospel music. If your gospel music is not setting people free or getting people to where God has placed them to be or purposed them to be, because a lot of people are just living, but they're not being fulfilled. They're not doing
Mhm.
exactly their assignment. So if you can help people get on track with their assignment, I believe that that's what gospel music is supposed to do. Gospel means good news. You should be giving them information that enlightens them, that wakes them up, to get them going, to help marriages, to everything that's
Mhm.
dealing with gospel music should bring life to any level. And when we're talking about genres, let's talk about different genres. I think the structure and elements, I think everything when it comes to music, it's the same thing. Because
Okay.
music, let's just say it overall, music is a spiritual thing. Music is the only thing you can't see, and you can hear it, but it controls the way you think. And matter
Yeah.
of fact, music is connected to pictures. If you hear a certain song, it could take you back to the first time you heard it, where you was at. If you hear a love song, you think about that person you love. If you hear a song that makes you sad, you think about that loved one you lost. Music
Right.
is spiritual. So when you're talking about country, when you're talking about jazz, it doesn't matter. It's all spiritual. The
Right.
question is, where do you want to take people? And your
That's good.
words, I say, and your words is the ship that's taking them. So
Mm,
that's a whole nother conversation.
that's good.
Mhm,
Yeah. So you are a music producer,
mhm,
DJ, CEO of J White Enterprises.
mhm.
How do you keep a balance? How are you balancing your roles?
Well,
You're doing a
everything
lot.
have started. I used to say I don't do all. I don't do
Yes.
all at this present time. Everything has been a journey from my early 2000s to rapping and writing.
Mhm.
The music producing, as far as starting the record label, didn't start till 2005. Getting
Mhm.
into actual DJing on the radio, that didn't start till 2010.
Oh, wow.
Everything, and even to now starting the music consulting company. We work with over 100 artists right now. We're produced over 100 artist records. So a lot of this thing, you're looking at a time frame to where I didn't start something until it was time for me to reinvent myself, when it
Okay.
was time for me to learn something new. um,
Hmm.
One thing I've learned about life is that you can't stay at the same place. It's
Right.
important that you learn how to navigate, you learn how to reinvent yourself, you learn how to understand shifts. We started out with
Mhm.
CDs, and now they went to MP3s, and now we on Spotify. And there are some
Right.
people who still are stuck on selling CDs. They don't want to move on and start creating QR codes. They don't want to do none of those
Right.
things. And God forbid if they walk around with a beep on their side. Listen, in this music industry, you have to learn certain things and learn how to uh, uh, learn as much as possible, but don't do it unless you've been called to do it. Each area of life that I've experienced, I was called to get into DJ. When I got into DJing, the
Mhm.
only reason I got into DJ because there's a place I used to love going skating to in Fort Lauderdale called Gold Coast, and we had a Christian DJ named DJ Mike. And when he passed away, I remember the owner telling us, he was like, "We're not gonna have no more gospel night here at Gold Coast Skating Rink." And when he said that, I said to myself, I'm finna be a DJ, because I that was the only place that we can go as Christians to hear gospel music at a skating ring. That was the only place in Fort Lauderdale. So that had me to get into. I did that for like a year in 2008. Now I was only there for a year when I met Pastor Victor Curry and MJ Smith. They were there. Their radio station was there for a birthday party, and I was there DJing. And that's when they first heard me. And then they offered me an opportunity to DJ live on their radio station. So I was only there for a year DJ, and I was like, I was just there to try to fill in the gap, but it opened up another door. And when I got on the radio, that opened up a whole nother lane of knowing major artists and getting in studio sessions and learning how to mix records with other major engineers. So everything happened, and I really just started mastering everything that God placed in my hands. I never took it lightly. Even today, learning new things now, I really try to isolate myself when I'm working on certain things. So every now and then I may get calls to do DJs for different Christian clubs and things like that. But one of the greatest things I know, that if I do get that call, I've mastered that. That's nothing for me to go in and mix records or master a record or get booked to do a music consulting seminar and do a speaking engagement. These are areas of my life that God has allowed me to understand how it works. But like I said, it created multiple incomes. And that's the beauty about understanding how to reinvent yourself. Everything that you do in life, there's an income connected to it if you really, really understand how it works.
Yes. What trends do you see emerging in gospel music? Um, like how do you think they'll shape the future? So first two questions. What's the trend that you see that's emerging in gospel music specifically? And how do you think it's going to shape the future?
One of the trends I see in gospel music that wasn't happening back then, and I said it back then, I said secular record labels are going to start signing Christian artists because there has been a change in the shift of message. There's been a shift and acceptance when it comes to the business of it itself. And then don't get me wrong, I don't think anything is wrong with it, especially if they're looking at it as a business opportunity on the gospel side, even on the secular side. To me,
Mm-hmm.
it's going to happen. I think it's important that we come together and learn how to work together so that we can get our message out there. There are a lot of things that in the gospel industry that wasn't taught to some of us because all we knew was church. They didn't they didn't know how to come in and teach us anything else, and that
Right.
the information was out there. But some of us was told, don't go to college, don't get involved with them, don't learn anything about that. And it's like, no, 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 no. We may have to go and sit with certain people and go to certain seminars in order to get the education and be able to teach everyone. And that's one of the things I had to learn in my life. I had to get with certain people who wasn't preachers, who wasn't pastors, but they were prominent people who were willing to give me information to help me build my music business, to help me help other gospel artists who won't even go over there and talk with the secular record labels and things like that. So I really see that is one of the main things I see is secular labels, how you say my like Cash Money or Universal, even like my friend getting signed with Capitol Records. All these labels are going to start signing gospel artists because it's going to become lucrative. The next thing I definitely see is there are going to be more gospel people, artist wise, not just prominent pastors or whatever, but gospel artists who are very influential because of
Mm-hmm.
TikTok, because of Instagram. You may not have a church, but if you learn how to connect with people
Yeah.
and you start getting a huge following, that's your platform. That's your
Yeah.
pulpit.
Right.
you're
Right.
you're gonna really start having the power to where business companies, corporations are gonna have to come sit and talk with you. People pay me all the time to wear their shirts, to brand their stuff when I'm on stage talking. So now the gospel artists are starting to become the influential people in this life and in this time. And like I said, I came from that area where it wasn't popular or you couldn't be heard when you said the word Jesus.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. That's good insight and information. You guys hear that where the gospel music is going, regular record labels, secular. It's all the same. They all signing,
Mm-hmm,
right? Am I saying it
mm-hmm.
right? Okay. Copyrights and the legal aspects. Now I've heard that this is one of your like expert areas.
Mm-hmm.
An expert in this area. Let me say it right. Copyrights are a significant aspect of the music industry, right? So,
Yes.
can you explain the importance of protecting your work?
Back in the days, copyrights, we used to put out music on a CD and then mail it to the post office and then mail it back to ourselves. They used to stamp it, put a date on it. That was called back in the days poor man copyrights. But listen, those days, thank God, they are over. The minute you write down or the minute you put your voice on an audio, whether it's your phone, it is copywritten. You want to
Okay.
know why? Because everything as far as technology comes with a date and a time on it. One of the greatest things I tell artists that are in the studio, when you create your songs on Pro Tools and Logic, it records the date and the time that the song was created, whether it's considered the masters of the record. That is considered copywritten. That is copyrights. That is another way of copywriting. So the laws have, like I said, the laws have changed. You don't have to do the poor man copyright, but anytime you write it down on a piece of paper, anytime you record yourself on the phone, that is copyrights. You're able to own it. If you put something on, even if you put something on TikTok for the first time, there is a stamp ID that's connected to that they can track to find out who is the first person
Mm,
put that audio out and everything. The FBI, all of them are tapped in when you uploaded that video. Trust me, everything is tracked down to where if
mhm,
somebody puts something out after and you take them to court, you can show your video of the date and the time that you registered that on
mhm,
YouTube, or when you first put that on your cell phone and you recorded yourself singing the song.
mhm,
And another thing, when you're in the room, artists, do your song splits, register your song. My responsibility as a publisher is that anytime any of my artists finish their records, I go and I get the information of who was involved in the song.
mhm,
I do all the song splits. I register their music, and everything goes up in the account for them on through our publishing company. So you
mhm,
need to take that responsibility too. Even though you may record yourself on the phone, take the time out to go ahead and take time out and go online and register your music with BMI or ASCAP. Just put in there the title of the song and everything, the split sheets of how much percentage of everything of who is involved in the song. You make something on your phone, hold on to it. If you write something on a piece of
mhm.
paper, hold on to it, because all these things play a huge role in the future. If you ever have any issues, you can pull up that information. You can download on your iCloud when you came up with that hook to that song that they're using, and you can use that information in court and as you move
Mm.
forward.
Okay. And they still have the regular copyright. This sounds like
Mhm.
a better
Yeah.
one though. So
Yes.
cause so you're not having to wait for the whole process and wait until they, say,
Yeah.
okay, we're gonna copyright it. We're gonna send you all your information back and okay, it's copywritten now. This seems
Right.
to be like a lot quicker, a lot better.
Music industry and technology. Let me say that correctly. Technology is really allowing us to move faster. You can do your split sheets right there in the session, and
Mhm.
the more times I'm seeing more artists come together, do your split sheets at the end of your session. That way you don't have no issues. I've seen artists get into legal stuff, arguments because of the split sheets. They decide to come together a month later after the song is out. All these
Right.
different things. Listen, discipline yourself. Do it right there on the
But
computer
right then.
or right there.
Right. What are some common misconceptions about using copyrighted music in music production?
Well, using other people's music live on performance stages,
Yeah.
using other using how you say they sometimes people will purchase beats on what they call BeatStar, all these different little apps that they may purchase the beats, but then when they
Okay.
register the music, they don't register the beat maker. They don't give the producer any points or any of that nature. Or they get on stage and they rap these songs on their YouTube page, and they are thinking that they own the song, but there's a percentage that belongs to the beat maker who really
Mhm.
owns the copyrights. Remember, these guys that are making these beats on these beat makers and all these different player producers who are making the music, these
Yeah.
guys, they own the rights to that instrumental.
Right.
So the misconception is really thinking that you own it since you wrote the lyrics to the song. You own the lyrics, but you don't own the musical part to the music. So that's a
Mhm.
huge misconception. People performing songs that someone else has written and they're
Yeah.
not paying them for it. So
Yeah.
that's a lot of that going on now in the industry, which is going to be changed because I think a lot of publishing companies are getting involved because either they're going to end up starting to sue people, or you're going to
Mm.
end up running to issues to where you may not get a lawsuit, but your video or whatever you posted is going to get taken down and flagged.
Aye. Well, now there was a whole thing in this past week about, politician
Mhm.
uh, Donald Trump using Beyonce's song, using other people's song in his campaign.
Mhm.
I guess maybe it's on TV or just in the campaign when he's out campaigning or whatever. So it was a big thing that was like stirring up. And so
Mhm.
now, people are want to sue him for using a song or saying, look, we don't want to give you permission to use the song. If you use it again or whatever, giving him a cease and desist of using the song because, they say he didn't pay for the copyright. He did not pay for permission. Can you explain that to us? Do you know of this situation, first of all?
Yes,
And then can
yes,
you explain that to us?
yes, 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 yes. I know the situation too familiar. Um, what happens is, what's surprising is the fact that they actually did it, because of
Mm.
the fact that if you do that, normally you're supposed to submit a letter of intent to the person who wrote the record, whoever wrote the record. You're
Yeah.
supposed to submit a license, and they're supposed to give you a license to
Mm.
play that music. And if you play that music, they can literally sue you. They can have you, like you said, a deceased letter, and ask you to
Mhm.
take that music down. So to where if you hear that actual talking again, you may not hear the record in the background, or they may mute the actual video. All those
Mhm.
things happen because someone didn't do what they were supposed to do it. And I'm very surprised for something like that happening on that level.
Yeah.
And the publishing company, literally, there are songs that artists may tell me, hey, PK, I don't want them to remix my song, or I'm not in
Mhm.
agreement with that politician, so I don't want them using my song in their
Right.
interview for their show. I
Right.
totally understand that. And as a publisher, I work with my artists, so I respect their opinions. I respect their
Mhm.
rights of them writing the record and us working together to produce to put the song out. So the
Right.
publisher has that right to release that, and also the publisher has the right to write a letter to let them know to take that down, or let them know that they will be hearing from their lawyers.
Right. And that's even if it's not on TV. That's even if it's just down at your convention center. That's it's
Yeah,
not televised or anything. You still have to ask for
yeah.
permission to use that song.
I think about when I'm on stage, or when an artist is on stage, I tell people, hey, take your phone out, go live on YouTube and videotape the artist performing, because
Mm.
the artist get paid from the publishing of that too, because you pay a fee on your YouTube account, and that money goes toward the artist for them performing live on YouTube.
Wow. That is good information. Tell us about fair use and how it applies to your work as a music producer or just in general.
You said fair use?
Fair use.
Okay. Well, it applies to me as a music producer. Let me just say this to those: if you ever desire to work with me and doing production and things like that, you can always find me on Facebook at Joshua PK White, or you can email me at joshuapkwhite@gmail.com. Working with me, I would definitely tell you there are a lot of avenues that we can do as far as focusing on your music business, understanding royalties, understanding
Mhm.
BMI, understanding ASCAP, getting all your music copyrighted and published. If you have, how you say, any questions as far as the music business, if you're an artist and you're just starting your career and you're looking to put a vision or a plan or a purpose together to become more successful in it, I definitely really look forward to working with you as a music producer. And those are the kind of the key elements that I kind of focus on with artists, are really just helping them on their journey as a music advisor and a music consultant. So that's my use and my fair use as a music producer, is working with artists overall as a music consultant and as an advisor in their career.
Okay. Okay. That's good. Okay.
Your environment is the key to your growth.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
You're
I would
welcome.
love to talk to you more about, the mental, the spiritual, all of that you're doing to keep yourself balanced, to keep yourself moving through your career, you know, just that taking care of yourself. Josh, I want to thank you so much for coming
Thank
on the
you.
show, sharing your wealth of information. It's so important that artists like really know this
Yes.
information, and people that's working with artists or who are parents or mentors or something, to have this information so they can get like a really good start. And even
Yeah.
those who are still doing it, yeah, I mean, we have to have this information and be loaded. So thank you so much for loading us up with some good information.
You're welcome.
Please come back. You said you would. So I'm
Yeah.
excited about that. And thank you all very much for listening to the Planet Rock podcast. Josh, you got something to say before we close?
Well, I encourage you guys to continue to discover your purpose, live in where God has placed you to be yourself, love yourself, and love others. That's all.
Y'all heard it right here on the Planet Rock podcast with Josh P.K. White. Thank you all for listening. We look forward to you coming back next week. See you then. Hear you then.
Bye.
What an awesome show full of insight and inspiration. Thank you to our guests and listeners. Look forward to hearing us next week on envision-radio.com at 12 noon, right here on Planet Rock.